This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Friday, which makes it Freeform Friday, August the 21st of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there. Radio Big. Oh yes, hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there at Radio Big, that is for sure.
Whatever you're doing this weekend, don't forget to take us along for the ride. We'll keep you company.
Okay, so there you go. I guess we're supposed to be keeping you company throughout the weekend as we are doing our things. That is for sure. So how have you been? How's the last 24 hours or so been? Because it's always a good time getting to hear exactly what is going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that. So there you go. So let's start talking. Our show normally consists of safety in the news and safety. But on Friday, we do the Freeform format, which we kind of talk a little bit about everything that is going on inside of the multiverse. Yeah, that's just kind of the whole kit and caboodle, and then we kind of go from there. That is the whole coalition of things to do. So there you go. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about how we do this today. As we talk about everything, we still want you to interact with the show. So all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options. I get a little prompt on the screen, lets me know what you're thinking, what you're doing, and I know where to kind of go from there. A lot of people always kind of go, well, why don't you let people into the show? Well, you do sometimes. Just really, really rarely. Kind of some of those breakthrough moments. Has to be something where we stop, drop, and roll type of thing. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do Dish Ahora? Why don't we go ahead, because it is Friday, and Fridays we like to do things slightly different. Why don't we go ahead and do our weekend review? Because I think that's always kind of an important one to do, because it's kind of a cool seg. So let's do that right now.
Hayden Panettiere's death now under new scrutiny. The Drug Enforcement Agency is working with local authorities on the investigation, according to a source familiar with the probe. The news comes after Panettiere's mother, Leslie Vogel, told NBC News a narcotics investigator is involved, adding, "It leads me to believe they have questions."
President Trump may rekindle his friendship with North Korea's Kim Jong-un later this year. The president said Wednesday that he'd like to meet again with the country's leader.
As the president keeps focused on foreign relations, there's renewed focus on his work with aide Natalie Harp. Earlier this week, Georgia Democratic Senator John Ossoff was running for re-election and is seen as a potential 2028 White House contender, said this.
He wants to build his ballroom and travel with Natalie on their apparently defenseless flying palace.
Trump hit back.
You mean Pee Wee Herman? Pee Wee Herman look-alike?
In the meantime, around 80 million people are under heat alerts again today. From California to North Carolina, it just keeps coming.
So another thing that happened Wednesday was that the U.S. national debt hit $40 trillion.
Frank Beard, founding member and drummer for ZZ Top, has died. He was 77 years old.
Meanwhile, another pilot is dead and 2 state troopers are injured after a police helicopter and small plane crashed in Pennsylvania. It happened during a routine training exercise at the Carlisle Regional Airport. Now the NTSB is trying to figure out what caused that crash.
The children of late movie legend Robin Williams aren't just protecting their father's legacy, they're fighting back against what they call AI abuse. Zach, Zelda, and Cody Williams reactivated his Instagram account, fed up with the alleged AI misuse involving their dad's likeness.
Lowe's challenged Home Depot's giant skeleton decoration by unveiling their own massive headless skeleton. Can we see it? Ooh. Yeah, Lowe's and Home Depot are competing. Meanwhile, Ace Hardware is like, we got real skeletons working the register.
Okay, so there you go. That's pretty much the week in review with everything that's going on inside of the multiverse. Yeah, I have to tell you, that's kind of one of my favorite segments that we kind of do here on Fridays. I'm just saying. So, are you ready to get into some news, or should we talk about something else?
Keeping you company until that margarita's in your hand.
Okay, I don't know about all that. It's still relatively early on a Friday, so that's for sure. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's bring in our friends from Feature Story News. Let them tell you about what the hell is going on inside of the multiverse, because I think that that's going to be important. So let's bring them in right now. Let them go down the path, and then we'll get everything rolling and bowling and all that kind of fun stuff. No, seriously, like rolling and bowling for sure.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. North Korea has fired a barrage of about 10 short-range ballistic missiles from the capital region towards the sea, according to South Korea's military, the third such test by Pyongyang in August alone. The launches came a day after the North dismissed Washington's decision to scale back joint military exercises with South Korea, a move widely seen as an attempt to restart diplomacy. Despite the provocation, analysts say the door to negotiations may not yet be closed. Ira Spitzer, reporting from San Francisco, says Kim Jong-un's sister spoke in positive terms about the relationship between the North Korean leader and US President Donald Trump, a signal that diplomatic channels may remain open.
These were short-range ballistic missiles, and while they're certainly provocative and will be condemned by Washington and Seoul, North Korea, of course, has a history of combining military pressure with diplomacy. So this is not at all out of character. Given the history here, the backdrop, it does not seem like a shutting down of negotiations so far, but certainly Pyongyang may want more from the U.S. If any sort of negotiations go forward.
The El Niño event that is developing over the Pacific Ocean is likely to be the strongest in living memory. That's the warning from Britain's weather agency, which says that it is very likely to mean that 2027 will be the hottest year ever recorded across the globe. The El Niño effect is a natural climate phenomenon that increases global temperatures and can heighten the risks of extreme weather, including severe droughts in the southern hemisphere. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex's planned return to Britain may be linked to a new acting job for Meghan Markle. Media reports in the UK and Australia suggest that Meghan may return to the screen. Before her marriage to Prince Harry, the Duchess was best known for her part in the US drama Suits, in which she played a lawyer for 7 seasons. But it's the family's security arrangements that are the chief concern, and FSN's Ollie Barrett at Buckingham Palace says the long-running dispute over the family's safety may be closer to resolution than previously thought.
Harry has had a long-running battle with the British establishment over the fact that he hasn't been extended police security support when he's been visiting the UK. But the understanding is something might have shifted in that regard, and it may be related to him becoming, for an extended period at least, a UK resident rather than an American resident who visits the UK from time to time. So there is still a huge amount that we don't know about how all of this will play out.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, Natalie Harp, the White House aide who has forged a very close relationship with President Trump, but whose name is now being invoked by some top Democrats as a further example of concerning behavior at the top of America's government. Rick Wilson is the co-founder of the Lincoln Project, a group of former Republican Party members opposing the Trump administration.
Natalie Harp is an aide to Donald Trump. They refer to her as the human printer. She runs around with a battery-powered portable printer to print out favorable articles to show Donald Trump. She has now become his closest aide and confidant in the White House, and you're seeing right now a real explosion inside his own staff because they believe that she has accumulated a degree of influence and power that cannot be explained away easily. This White House has become a leakier than a sieve about this story, and Trump has a very close bond with her. She has unlimited access to the president, I'm told, including in the residence, which is very unusual. And it has become a real political football for the White House right now. They're really struggling to contain this story, and it's getting bigger by the day.
But there are voices in America angry at Democrats for spreading innuendo about Natalie Harp. They argue she's a successful woman who has risen to the top in US politics and does not deserve to have her name dragged through the mud. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And now another look at the top stories. North Korea has fired a barrage of ballistic missiles from the capital region towards the sea, according to South Korea's military. Britain's weather agency says it's very likely that 2027 will be the hottest year ever recorded across the globe. And United States Treasury Chief Scott Bessent says the US will impose the toughest sanctions in history on Iran, a move he says may lessen the need for new major military operations. From bureaus worldwide, that's the latest feature story news. This is Ross Cullen in Paris reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, it is. Another pitfall of our society, that is for sure. So let's start talking right away about some things going on inside of the multiverse, and this one was gaining ground, so let's talk about it. A 16-year-old Tennessee girl is facing assault and disorderly conduct charges after she stormed onto a middle school football field on Tuesday night and tackled a player during a post-touchdown scuffle. The game between South Middle School and Cornville Middle School was being played at Franklin County High School in Winchester when tensions erupted after the South scored a touchdown and an extra point. During the confusion, the girl ran onto the field, charged the South player involved in the altercation, and slammed him to the ground. When the player tried to get back up, she shoved him back down before the coach intervened and separated them. A school resource officer met with the girl as she was escorted off the field, and she was later released to her parents. Authorities charged her with assault and disorderly conduct. She also has been hit with some serious consequences. A lifetime trespass ban from Franklin County school properties, along with Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association ban, keeping her from attending Cornville Middle School athletic events from home or away. Take a listen to this.
Good play after the drive. Very good. Flag down. After the play. Bring up the road. Come again.
So there you go. I mean, I never understand this. I really don't, because I have such a hard time understanding some of this. So you went to a football game, a middle school football game, and you were so inspired. So you decided to tackle a player that was on the field? I don't know. It gets kind of weird. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. A Salmonella outbreak linked to jalapeno peppers has just now sickened 431 people across 32 states, according to the CDC. 57 people have been hospitalized. Investigators believe the peppers were distributed through Coast Citrus Distributors, which supplies jalapenos to Mexican-style restaurants, including Chipotle and Qdoba. Both chains have removed jalapenos from the menus while the outbreak is investigated. About 91% of people interviewed by health officials said they have eaten Mexican-style restaurants before becoming sick. More than half have reported that the cases are in Minnesota and Colorado. The outbreak appears to have been between June the 19th and August the 12th. Earlier this month, there were 345 cases in states, and so the numbers have climbed significantly as we are talking. So I get kind of confused on what's going on with all this food stuff, because there's a lot of cases of it, it seems like, as we are talking. What do you think? I mean, just imagine you go out there, have some jalapeno peppers, you think something else is going on, and surprise, surprise, it's not exactly what you thought was going on. That's going to be one of those things.
Duh.
So there you go. Anyways, a New Jersey family is suing Franklin Sports after a 6-year-old, Lucy Morgan, was killed during a 2024 family vacation in Maine. Lucy was sitting nearby when her 10-year-old brother swung a badminton racket and its aluminum shaft loose from the handle, striking her in the head and penetrating her brain. She died 4 days later. The family claims that the racket was defectively designed, arguing that secondary safety measures could have prevented the shaft from becoming a deadly projectile. They also say the consumers weren't adequately warned about the dangers. Family attorneys called a parent's worst nightmare. So there you go. I mean, think about that one. That's definitely one of those ones that, yeah, you're not sleeping anytime soon at night thinking about that. That's for sure. Let's continue talking. NASA and the Catalyst Space, Catalyst Space, NASA and Catalyst Space have called off the effort to boost the 21-year-old Swift Observatory into higher orbit after the Link spacecraft developed an altitude control problems. The mission was intended to extend Swift's life and keep it studying gamma ray bursts, but NASA now expects the telescopes to re-enter Earth's atmosphere later this year. Link will still attempt to look around at what the hell is going on with Swift. So there you go. Interesting stuff going on right there. That is for sure. Okay, so take a listen to this. Manitoba Premier Wab Canoe is ripping the President Trump after Canada weighs in on concessions to secure the new trade agreement with the U.S. And Canoe called Trump a bad person, erratic, irresponsible, and not to be trusted, arguing that Canada shouldn't give up too much because the deal could later be undone. The comments come as the Canadian and the U.S. officials say that they're close to finalizing a trade agreement. Canada is facing a threatened 50% U.S. tariffs, with the tariffs on about $20 billion worth of Canadian imports postponed until Saturday while negotiations continue. Canoe says that Canada still has leverage and should keep fighting, but indicated that Manitoba could support Prime Minister Mark Carney's request to restore the U.S. alcohol product so that Canadian liquor stores as part of the United Canadian negotiations strategy. Canoe also said that encouraged Canadians to keep buying Canadian products. Even American goods return to store shelves. He argued the U.S. is the side that needs to deal right now and claimed that Canada has the upper hand. So, some things to think about. What do you think? I'm just asking. It's a very interesting thing. I mean, no doubt about it. I didn't realize that it was all about upper hands here, but I guess that's going to be the thing to talk about. So there you go. So here you go. Let's talk about this one. Former Sacramento Kings assistant athletic trainer Crystal Lee is suing the team, alleging that she was demoted and eventually fired after becoming pregnant. She claims that a team executive told her, "You're fired," after learning that she was pregnant, and later told her that her life was ruined after having kids. Lee says that she was barred from road games, stripped of responsibilities, and ultimately fired after raising concerns about her treatment. The Kings categorically deny the allegations and say that they will vigorously defend themselves. I mean, that's interesting. And let's say, for instance, hypothetically, that it's true. Holy shit, you're in Canada. You're not in Canada. You're in California doing this. It's not going to go well.
Duh.
I'm just going to say it's not going to go well. Have you seen some of the weird California stuff that happens? I'm just saying. So there you go. Okay. Do I want to do this? I don't know if I want to do this. Let's do this. Are you big in the NFL? Are you an NFL watcher, per se? Because it's still preseason. Tonight, there's some games going on. New York Jets, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, Carolina at Jacksonville, Green Bay at Denver. Tomorrow's games consist of this: Washington at Detroit, Atlanta, Indianapolis, Baltimore at Minnesota, Buffalo at Cleveland, New Orleans at LA Rams, New York Giants at Miami, Chicago at Cincinnati, Philadelphia at New England, Kansas City at Tampa Bay, and Dallas at Arizona. And Sunday's game is Seattle at Tennessee. So you can have a lot of TV watching going on in your life if you're so inclined to do that. That's definitely what it sounds like, for sure. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world, because that's just kind of just seems to be what we do around here. So take a listen to this, because I found this one earlier and I figured that we should probably talk about it. Is, you know that feeling when you open a package of your favorite snack expecting to find a decent amount of food inside, and instead you feel like somebody just robbed you? Well, a woman on TikTok had her experience with a can of Pringles. She opened the can and discovered that it was barely half full. There were Pringles in there, sure, but nowhere as many as she expected. And that raises the eternal snack food question: how much empty space is too much empty space? Because we've all been opened a bag of chips and looked like the bag to the top on the grocery store shelf, only to discover that half of the bag is basically air. You can buy a box of cereal and wonder if somebody ate half of it and drive home. And then you open the container of ice cream to find the giant crater around the edges. Or you order pizza and suddenly realize the box is doing a lot more work than the actual pizza. In this case, the woman was surprised by the lack of Pringles that she had made a TikTok about it. So take a listen to this real quick. Seriously.
It's not even half full. And now we're going to weigh them. Let's tear it so that we're at ounces. We should have 5.5 ounces. We're not even at 1. .31 ounces. And that says 5.5 ounces.
Okay, so there you go. Maybe it's considering some room for the bag. I don't know. So it's interesting to think about. So have you ever opened a can, package, box, bag, or container of food and realized that you got totally ripped off? If that's the case, I would love to hear more about that. Just go to callinradio.com. That should get everything moving in regards to what the hell's going on, because I'd love to hear what you have to say. I think we've all kind of been through that to some extent, but I would love to hear more, because it's definitely one of those things that I look around and go, man, what a crazy time when it comes to some of these things. I remember a few days ago, this is not a lie. I bought some protein bars, and let's be realistic. Protein bars are not the cheapest thing on the planet. And I want to say that I spent somewhere like in the $20 scenario, and I ordered it online, not paying a lot of attention. And the last time that I had ordered, there was 12 bars. Not bad. But this time when I got them for the $20, which I thought I was ordering the same product, I got 4. Yeah, 4. So I ended up paying like $5 a bar. $5 a bar, which I would have never done, but I got it. I mean, this is definitely one of those things to talk about. So there you go. So I guess keeping it in the Pringle category for a moment, because we were talking about chips a moment ago, Pringles and Sugarland Distilling have teamed up on Pringles Dill Pickle Potato Vodka, a 60 proof vodka designed to taste like those salty, tangy dill pickle chips, including a salty potato flavor that really drive the point home. A 750 milliliter bottle is selling for around $22, although prices vary. Sugarland suggests that using the Picklebacks Martini and Bloody Mary reactions are mixed. Some people are intrigued. Others think that drinking something that tastes like the bottom of a Pringles is a terrible idea. And it isn't Pringles' first bizarre food crossover. They've already teamed up with a beer and burger chips and beer cheese crackers. At this point, it's the only question is, when do we go to Pringles flavored toothpaste? So there you go. What do you think here? I mean, I'm just asking the question because I have this hard time of trying to get stuff that's flavored like something else, because why don't you just buy the thing that's cheaper? Isn't a can of Pringles like $3? I mean, I'm just asking. It would make more logical sense to me to buy the can of Pringles and maybe a fifth of vodka or something. I don't know.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so you ready for this? It's going to get interesting. YouTube is reportedly testing a new tactic to stop its biggest creators from jumping to Netflix, offering some of the multi-million-dollar payments for exclusivity. Business Insiders report that YouTube has approached a select group of creators with verbal offers worth millions of dollars if they agree to keep their content on YouTube exclusively for a certain period. The deals vary. YouTube has traditionally relied more on ad revenue sharing than handling creators' giant checks. The move comes as Netflix aggressively recruits creator-driven content, including shows from personalities such as Miss Rachel and Salish Matter. YouTube has reportedly warned creators that turning down exclusivity could also mean missing out on some marketing and brand opportunities. It essentially is a bidding war for internet celebrities, and YouTube is now saying, please don't leave. Here's a few million reasons to stay. The bigger question is whether audiences will like having their favorite creators locked behind a different platform. The entertainment industry has learned before that exclusivity can get very expensive, and fans don't always appreciate the way they're being told where they're allowed to watch. So there you go. I remember there was one of the biggest podcasts in the world that was moved to an exclusive platform. And it was there for years, but it had been number one on multiple platforms. And not that it was doing bad on this exclusive platform, but it was not number one across the world. So when the renewal came about, guess what? They were told, hey, you can go anywhere you want, because apparently the creator was not happy that they were limited on what they could do. So now, again, it is one of the biggest shows on the planet in regards of what is going on. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right now. Okay, take a listen to this. A Michigan couple stopped for gas on their way home from a vacation. They ended up leaving with $500,000 lottery prize. A 64-year-old Genesee County man wasn't even planning to buy a lottery ticket, but while waiting in line, the Shell station in Standish, he watched a customer ahead of him buy several scratch-offs. That inspired him to grab a few tickets of his own. He bought the 2 Detroit Lions scratch-off tickets for himself and 2 Cash Word tickets for his wife. Later that night, they sat down at home and scratched them. What they discovered that he had won his ticket, it was worth about $500,000. And he says that his wife checked the tickets repeatedly because he couldn't believe that he had actually won. The unexpected windfall will give the couple a nice retirement cushion. And he says that he's also shares some of the money with his children. As he put it, it feels unreal to make the same amount of money that you worked years for in one day. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. Should we do one more? Yeah, let's do one more real quick. Amazon is expanding its speedy Prime Air drone delivery service to 500 cities in the U.S., but judging by some recent deliveries, the drones may need refresher courses in geography. A video from Texas shows an Amazon delivery drone hovering over a customer's swimming pool, opening its cargo hatch and dropping the package directly into the water. And apparently, this isn't a one-off. Last year, another drone delivered a package near a pool in Arizona where the force from the propeller blew the package into the water. And another drone dropped a package near a pond where it bounced off the ground and rolled right in. Amazon says that its drone are supposed to check for her people, pets, and vehicles before landing. Apparently, the swimming pool isn't on the checklist yet. The company has had other drone mishaps, including crashes involving a crane and internet cables, apparently. So Amazon Prime Air, because apparently Prime Water wasn't available and your package isn't late, it's just soaking. So there you go, some things to think about. Anyways, normally we would be doing a main story during this time, but it's Freeform Friday, so we don't do that. We just like to do a lot of news stories because we seem to think that those are super important. So let's do that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. North Korea has fired a barrage of about 10 short-range ballistic missiles from the capital region towards the sea, according to South Korea's military, the third such test by Pyongyang in August alone. The launches came a day after the North dismissed Washington's decision to scale back joint military exercises with South Korea, a move widely seen as an attempt to restart diplomacy. Despite the provocation, analysts say the door to negotiations may not yet be closed. Ira Spitzer, reporting from San Francisco, says Kim Jong-un's sister spoke in positive terms about the relationship between the North Korean leader and US President Donald Trump, a signal that diplomatic channels may remain open.
These were short-range ballistic missiles, and while they're certainly provocative and will be condemned by Washington and Seoul, North Korea, of course, has a history of combining military pressure with diplomacy. So this is not at all out of character. Given the history here, the backdrop, it does not seem like a shutting down of negotiations so far, but certainly Pyongyang may want more from the U.S. If any sort of negotiations go forward.
The El Niño event that is developing over the Pacific Ocean is likely to be the strongest in living memory. That's the warning from Britain's weather agency, which says that it is very likely to mean that 2027 will be the hottest year ever recorded across the globe. The El Niño effect is a natural climate phenomenon that increases global temperatures and can heighten the risks of extreme weather, including severe droughts in the southern hemisphere. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex's planned return to Britain may be linked to a new acting job for Meghan Markle. Media reports in the UK and Australia suggest that Meghan may return to the screen. Before her marriage to Prince Harry, the Duchess was best known for her part in the US drama Suits, in which she played a lawyer for 7 seasons. But it's the family's security arrangements that are the chief concern, and FSN's Ollie Barrett at Buckingham Palace says the long-running dispute over the family's safety may be closer to resolution than previously thought.
Harry has had a long-running battle with the British establishment over the fact that he hasn't been extended police security support when he's been visiting the UK, but the understanding is something might have shifted in that regard, and it may be related to him becoming, for an extended period at least, a UK resident rather than an American resident who visits the UK from time to time. So there is still a huge amount that we don't know about how all of this will play out.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, Natalie Harp, the White House aide who has forged a very close relationship with President Trump, but whose name is now being invoked by some top Democrats as a further example of concerning behavior at the top of America's government. Rick Wilson is the co-founder of the Lincoln Project, a group of former Republican Party members opposing the Trump administration.
Natalie Harp is an aide to Donald Trump. They refer to her as the human printer. She runs around with a battery-powered portable printer to print out favorable articles to show Donald Trump. She has now become his closest aide and confidant in the White House, and you're seeing right now a real explosion inside his own staff because they believe that she has accumulated a degree of influence and power that cannot be explained away easily. This White House has become a leakier than a sieve about this story, and Trump has a very close bond with her. She has unlimited access to the president, I'm told, including in the residence, which is very unusual. And it has become a real political football for the White House right now. They're really struggling to contain this story, and it's getting bigger by the day.
But there are voices in America angry at Democrats for spreading innuendo about Natalie Harp. They argue she's a successful woman who has risen to the top in US politics and does not deserve to have her name dragged through the mud. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And now another look at the top stories. North Korea has fired a barrage of ballistic missiles from the capital region towards the sea, according to South Korea's military. Britain's weather agency says it's very likely that 2027 will be the hottest year ever recorded across the globe. And United States Treasury Chief Scott Bessent says the US will impose the toughest sanctions in history on Iran, a move he says may lessen the need for new major military operations. From bureaus worldwide, that's the latest feature story news. This is Ross Cullen in Paris reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety Transmission, The Collapse of the Construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. You and I are still hanging out and doing all the fun stuff we get to do, no doubt about that. So we are hanging out here. Safety FM, Radio Big, Rated R Safety Show. This right here you're taking a listen to, band's called Found Space, songs called Shatter, songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So some options for you. Yep, there you go. We'd like to thank Found Spaces for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. That is for sure. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Gonna tell you, you get there, there's all kinds of information. And yesterday we had a brief discussion about different things that they have going on. And let's not forget about this one, the QPR Suicide Prevention Virtual Training. They have it going on multiple times over the next few weeks. First one's on August the 25th at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then September the 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Then September the 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern. September the 9th at noon Eastern. And then September the 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So there you go, some opportunities to go through the class itself. It would definitely be a good time for you to take a look around at what's going on. No doubt about that. Okay, so with that being said, let's continue talking about some other thingos going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. That is for sure. So with that being said, well, should I talk about this yet, or do we just kind of want to hold off? Should we talk about it? I don't know. I always get so confused on what I'm supposed to be announcing and not announcing stuff. So maybe we should just talk about it. Should we? So we kind of always talk about some of the items that we have going on. And maybe it is time to discuss this. I think that I can discuss this because it's already kind of been talked about, maybe to some extent. So our next public-facing event that we are going to be doing, the summit, if I may call it that, is on February the 7th through the 10th of 2027. And you might be wondering, well, what's taking place? If you go to safetyinnovation.org, that's safetyinnovation.org, our next public event is taking place at the Sheraton Grand Mirage on the Gold Coast of Queensland in Australia. Yep, you heard me. You heard me say it right here. So, yep, we're going to Australia February the 7th through the 10th. We will be broadcasting live there. Would love for you to come and hang out. We try to make it over there every couple of years or so. So we're going to Queensland, Australia to go ahead and do some of our stuff. Will be a good time. It is the Global Safety Innovation Summit. All kinds of things going on. Go to the website, safetyinnovation.org, to find out more information. I will tell you all kinds of different people speaking at the event. I can tell you that Todd Conklin will be there speaking, doing some of the stuff that he gets to do. Zoe Nations will also be there. Those have been the ones that have been talked about so far. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention anything else at the moment. So we'll just leave it at that, okay? So safetyinnovation.org to find out more information. Taking place the 7th through the 10th of February of 2027. So there you go. Would love to see you there. If you've not made it out to Australia, something I would definitely recommend that you do. That is for sure. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this right now? Why don't we bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute. Let's do that.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Norman. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis said, "One man can make a difference, and every man should try." I agree. Every man and woman on Earth can make a difference. I also think we all do in our own way. There are things that you have done that have made somebody's life better. Maybe it was something as simple as saying hello to a neighbor. Maybe you put them in a slightly better mood, and that had a ripple effect on their whole day and the day of everyone they encountered. Now imagine if you were rude to them and they passed on that negativity to others. That can happen too. I've witnessed that in my life. When somebody is angry with their job and they lash out at me, and that makes it hard for me to be happy and nice to the next person in my path. Shake it off and move on. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
China and South Korea move to strengthen relations as Beijing signaled it is actively considering a summit between their leaders during November's regional meeting.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met South Korean officials in Seoul during his first visit in 5 years. The countries also discussed trade, investment, supply chains, and encouraging North Korea to return to dialogue. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Global markets rallied after the U.S. Treasury announced larger buyback operations, easing pressure on long-term government bonds and sending yields sharply lower worldwide.
The Treasury said it would double some longer-dated debt buybacks to support market liquidity. Lower yields weakened the dollar, lifted gold, and gave investors relief after mounting worries about government debt. Chris Anderson reporting.
The Trump administration nominated a new leader for the Food and Drug Administration, while the president also highlighted White House construction and delayed tariffs on Canada.
The nomination came during a busy day of political and policy developments in Washington. The administration also faces continuing legal and political disputes involving White House projects, federal prosecutions, and international negotiations. Liam White reporting.
Shares in China's best-known humanoid robot maker soared in their Shanghai debut, highlighting intense investor interest in robotics and competition for artificial intelligence technology.
Unitree shares jumped more than five-fold after trading began, marking a major milestone for China's robotics industry. The company makes machines that run, dance, and perform martial arts, competing with major global technology companies. Gary Beck reporting.
Florida Democrat Angie Nixon scored an upset victory in her party's Senate primary, defeating a better-known opponent in a closely watched statewide contest.
Nixon, a Democratic socialist, defeated former Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vindman as voters selected candidates for crucial congressional races. The result could signal shifting political strength as parties prepare for elections determining control of Congress. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Samsung has raised prices for some advanced chip-making services by as much as 15% as booming demand for artificial intelligence strains manufacturing capacity.
The increases affect new orders for some advanced production processes, according to people familiar with the matter. Strong demand for AI chips is tightening capacity and intensifying competition with industry leader Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A personalized cancer vaccine from Moderna and Merck reduced melanoma recurrence and spread in a late-stage trial, raising hopes for thousands of high-risk patients.
The experimental mRNA treatment was tested alongside the immunotherapy drug Keytruda after patients underwent surgery. If regulators approve it, the companies say eligible melanoma patients could begin benefiting from the new approach next year. Jessica Oakley reporting.
President Trump delayed new 50% tariffs on Canadian imports after announcing a last-minute agreement, while Canadian officials said substantial work remains before a final deal.
The threatened tariffs had been scheduled to take effect on billions of dollars in Canadian goods. The temporary pause gives both governments more time to negotiate while avoiding an immediate escalation in their trade dispute. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench?
Radio.
Okay, awful stench is what it sounds like for sure as we are hanging out and talking in regards of what is going on inside of the multiverse. That is for sure. So with that being said, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. If I take a look around, back in 1878, American Bar Association organizes at Sarasota, New York. In 1945, President Truman ends his Lend-Lease program. In 1959, Hawaii becomes the 50th U.S. state. In 1988, a ceasefire between Iran and Iraq takes place after 8 years of war. And in 1991, the communist coup is crushed in the USSR in 2 days. So there you go. All the things that I referenced are happening back on the dates that I said. Okay, let's talk about some celebrity birthdays that are going on today. Jackie DeShannon turns 85. Harry Smith turns 75. Kim Cattrall turns 70. Carrie Ann Moss turns 56. Alicia Witt turns 51. And Brody Jenner turns 43. Usain Bolt turns 40. And hold on. I think we kind of missed this one. Hayden Panettiere would have turned 37 this week. I didn't know that. So there you go. That's all that's going on so far in regards to what's going on with celebrity birthdays. So with that being said, let me go ahead and tell you this one real quick. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.org. Listen to me, radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, I'll be over there talking about the world of music and entertainment. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he is talking about the world of safety consulting. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know real quick. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is for $113 million. Tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is for $68 million. And the USS Abraham Lincoln has left the Middle East and is heading back to the United States after a lengthy deployment that reportedly included concerns about mental health strain among the sailors and shortages of supplies aboard the carrier. The carrier departed the region yesterday. The USS George Washington arrived into the Arabian Sea to take over the duties of the U.S. Central Command Area's responsibility. The Abraham Lincoln is now headed back to San Diego, where it had originally departed on November the 21st. And the change comes as the Navy shifts its carrier presence in the region, and while giving the Lincoln crew a chance to return home. So there you go. If you need some words of wisdom for today, you don't need more hours. You need better priorities. And if you need some advice for today, use a clear container for pantry staples. You can see what you're running low on without digging through the boxes. So there you go. And that's going to pretty much sum it up for today. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.